It's funny, that seems to be the story that people are focusing on, but that's a very minor part of it for me. The bigger story to me is the fact that the entire episode takes place on Claire's computer screen. I find that to be the most interesting part of this. But we just wanted to do it in a way that seemed as real as possible. So we just used the devices that one would use in real life.
Picking up a device is really easy to do, and connecting with someone across the country is extremely simple now with all of the technology we have. I have a feeling, though, that producing this episode and directing it may not have been so simple. What sort of challenges did you run into?
Yeah, there was a lot that went into this. First of all, the hardest part was coming up with the storyline in which we could feature all 11 or 12 of our actors and still stay on one person's computer screen. Once we had the original idea for the story, things really fell into place quickly, and the problem wasn't so much of how are we going to how are we going to feature everybody, but how are we going to fit all this into one episode. And then originally we were going to have the actors shoot themselves by holding up the camera like one would do, the phone like one would do in real life. But then there were other considerations about framing things properly and not shooting off the set. So we quickly devised a method where the cameraman, we used our camera people to shoot them with the phones. And then so it didn't look like the phones were floating out in space. The actors were instructed to always keep their hands on the cameraman's hands. and that's how we did it. It was a very, very romantic day.
Was there any product placement involved? Did they pay for any of this Apple
placement? No, other than providing the products that we used for the episode. No, this was done. This is purely a creative decision on our part, just like the iPad episode was. I happen to be very techie, and I like this stuff. So in the last episode, we just needed a reason for Phil to be waiting in line, and it just so happened to line up when the iPad was coming out. So it was a natural fit. And here, once again, this just came from my life. I was FaceTiming with my daughter at college, and I was looking at my screen, and there was some emails and a script I was working on, and I could see her, and I could also see myself and my wife standing behind me, and some web pages open, and I thought, wow, this really paints an amazing picture of my life. You can tell a lot about me from this one screen, and that's where the idea started.
So this is not the first time you've featured Apple devices in your show. And we see devices on television all the time, but we don't necessarily think about the collaboration between the technology company and the television studio. How important is that relationship?
Well, listen, you want to... it's a fine line, because we're not here to sell Apple products. And, that's not our goal in terms of this episode. They may advertise with us, and that's wonderful. And I know Steve Jobs was a big Modern Family fan, and that was very meaningful to me. And I know that many of the people at Apple are fans of the show. And we're very big fans of their products. So, really this is much more of a personal interaction than it is a business relationship.
How impressive are these cameras that can capture an entire episode on television now?
Yeah, I think the smartphones today, and not just Apple's, but other companies' cameras on their phones are amazing, and most viewers would be hard pressed to tell a difference. We've actually snuck in some footage from iPhones in the past in our episodes, just because we needed a quick shot, and it's pretty hard to tell the difference. So it's amazing. It opens up a whole new world for amateur filmmakers and budding filmmakers, people who are just beginning, because you don't need that initial huge investment anymore. You can make a compelling movie on your phone and your computer, and all you really need is a great story and some great characters, and off you go.